We have finally reached that part of the season where everybody thinks they know who every team is by now, and they're going to bet that way. But no, not us. That's not how we do things around here. Here we go. Picks for every game. Week 7. Let's kick it off with Thursday night football. Of course, if you're not following me on Twitter yet, what are you waiting for? Loughy_D. If you enjoy talking football, that's the place to be. And of course, hit that thumbs up, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. All of that goes a long way. I'll give you some good spots to comment on throughout the video. I can promise you that much. And we're going to start it off with the Bengals here at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin's squad laying 5.5, coming off a nice win against the Browns. We did like the Steelers last week. It was just one of those spots. You know, when I say that in the intro, everybody thinks they know who everybody is by now. It is true, right? It's like, oh, no, I mean, this team's just trash. You can't bet them. Or my personal favorite, there's a 0% chance they cover the spread this week. Actually, that's not true. That's why the spread exists, right? And there's going to be those type of spots. You pick your spots, and that's what we do around here. And some of them are going to be ugly. You guys already know. But you look at this Bengals game, Trey Hendrickson's questionable, so that is a big deal. But outside of that, man, like they, in a sense, competed last week. We didn't bet that Packers game, but they competed with Joe Flacco at Lambeau Field. It's not to say they ever really had a shot at winning it, but it was respectable. And, you know, I look at this team and I go, they still have Jamar Chase. They still have T. Higgins. They still have Chase Brown if they can find them any running room. Joe Flacco doesn't need to do much. He just needs to not be terrible. Now, of course, this defense without Hendrickson potentially could be a liability, but I'm not buying into this offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers yet. I mean, Jaylen Warren's a nice player. Aaron Rodgers is in the twilight of his career. He's gonna flash some games here and there. And then they have DK Metcalf, but outside of DK Metcalf, they don't have anyone. I gotta tell you though, does this not feel like the type of game that the Cincinnati Bengals cover? I mean, they're 5.5 point. Keep this in mind, right? Because we're all about week over week stuff. I don't care about an individual record. There's so many things I don't care about, and it's led us to a winning season, right? I don't care if the Steelers on paper are a better team. We know they are, right? But it's a short week, Thursday night football in Cincinnati. All right, a home divisional game. Mike Tomlin, as a big favorite in these spots, typically doesn't perform well either. I mean, look, I'm going the Bengals here at plus 5.5. You're a 5.5 point home divisional dog on a short week. Traditionally, many low-scoring games. I got to do it. And of course, I may have made a money line round robin, all underdogs bet over on Tails. If you guys want to check that out, all my bets over on Tails are free all season long. We've hit some bangers this year. We post a lot of straight bets. I posted a ton of straight bets for these week 7 games last night on Monday. Many of the lines have already moved. You'll never pay a cent. Just click the link in the description to follow me on Tails, set up notifications, and we'll be in business. But everything you never see here or on Twitter, and anything you do see here always comes first there before that line movement. And would love to have you guys come hang out. So hit me with a follow and say hello. Rams at the Jaguars, a London game. Here we go. Jags in London. No surprise here. You know, the Puka Nacua news is kind of big. Now, Devin Lloyd is out on the other side, and he's been a absolutely dominant force on the defense for the Jags this season. I kind of like the Jags here, though. I haven't bet this. This is a straight lean right now, especially with Puka Nacua's status uncertain. That's a big deal. Like, if you still have Devontae Adams, which is great, and you still have Kyron Williams, but you really do like cut the Rams offense off at the knees when you take Nacua out of that offense, because now it's like, all right, we just need to shut down Devontae Adams. Not, oh God, we got to shut down a surefire Hall of Famer in Adams. And also, wait, he's the number 2 receiver on this team. So obviously, if Nacua's out, and it seems like he's trending in possibly the right direction, but with these ankle injuries, man, you can never say, and they got to go across the pond to play in London. I'm leaning Jags right now. Another reason for that too, like we bet the Seahawks against the Jags last week. Why? Jags, this is like my favorite formula in football, and it works. For those of you guys who have watched this video for years, you know this works for us more times than it doesn't. Team coming off like a monumental victory at home on prime time. What do we do the next week? We fade them. You bet against them, and they got cleaned up by the Seahawks. So I'd like to go back to the Jags here. It's a lean until we get this Nacua news. But if Nacua is out, you could get a more favorable swing in your direction for the Jags as well. I look at it like this, though. The Jags play all the time in London. I mean, Lawrence has already played like 5 or 6 games there. He has a winning record in London. They're fully acclimated to this environment and this style of play. So as 3-point dogs on a neutral field coming off a rough loss last week at home, give me the Jags here +3 in London. Eagles at the Vikings. Remember I told you guys on Thursday that remember I did this like big long monologue to start the video, the Thursday only video, where I was like, this Eagles team feels like the 2023 Eagles team, and I'm not ready to go there yet. I mean, look, I bet the Eagles was wrong, but I saw it coming and I went against my better judgment. They're broken right now, and something is wrong. Something is wrong. They didn't have Jalen Carter. Quinyon Mitchell hurt his hamstring in that game, but the offense is broken, man. And you're telling me that you're allowing a rookie in Dart, who I like, by the way. I don't like him personally. He's quite infuriating. Maybe it's a divisional opponent thing. But I like as far as I think he's going to be pretty good. And that's all that matters, right? Why do you care what I think? I like him, but he's throwing passes to like legitimate practice squad players in Lil Jordan Humphrey. You know, they didn't have anybody. Not only didn't they have neighbors, they didn't even have Darius Slayton. And Cam Scadaboo racks up almost 100 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. I said we're going to reassess the Eagles in the event that they can't come out there and take care of business on Thursday night against what should have been an inferior opponent in the New York Giants. So you know what? This week, yeah, I'm taking the Vikings +2.5. And like I said, I may have a money line underdogs round robin over on tails that could possibly include the Minnesota Vikings money line. Who knows? Maybe I found a great line over there and we added it, and it's 80 to win almost $700. Huh. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? But I mean, look, Carson Wentz, I think he's going to start. Now, we don't know who's going to start. It could be JJ McCarthy. I don't think Kevin O'Connell wants to do that. I think Kevin O'Connell in this spot knows his best shot of winning is with Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz has taken too many sacks this year, but guess what the Eagles aren't doing? They're not getting to the quarterback, right? Like, they're way lower in pass rush win rate than they were last year. They have 9 sacks through their first 6 games. Carson Wentz is going to have opportunities. Here's the biggest thing, though, and keep in mind, I know I mentioned this a lot, but I just want to tell you guys because props aren't out yet. So I post everything on Tails when props come up, a lot of ladder plays, Kamani Vidal, and a bunch of other stuff. Justin Jefferson could be in like a phenomenal spot if Quinyon Mitchell doesn't play this week. That would mean that the Eagles have to start Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo, who have been terrible in their own right. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going Vikings here at +2.5 at home. The Eagles, to me, feel like a repeat of the 2023 team, which was also coming off a Super Bowl appearance, and I just cannot back them right now until there's something changes. Patriots at the Titans. Pats laying 7 here. All right, finally, huh? For those of you who watch our DFS content, Ben Rasa and I do a first look show, and we have a Goblin of the Week segment every Tuesday, and it's basically like, who made the most boneheaded move, play, coaching decision of the week? I think Brian Callahan has been up there like 5 of 6 weeks all season. He doesn't know the rules, and he has finally been dismissed. An unceremonious exit for Brian Callahan, who went 4-19 as a head coach. By the way, I think he went 4-19 against the spread. I mean, how much money did I lose on the Titans over the last year plus? Mike McCoy takes over as the interim head coach. He's like the special offensive assistant or something. You may know that name, though, because from 2013 to 2016, he was the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Do we see the guys? This is what the comments are for. Let me know. Let me know. I asked you last week, hey, does this Arizona Cardinals line seem fishy? Most of you said, nah, the Colts are that good. I'm telling you, man, when the fishy lines start to smell, even without Kyler Murray, they covered the 6.5, which moved to 9.5, which possibly pass interference with Trey McBride in the end zone could have led to the Cardinals winning that game outright. Point being, I got to know in the comments, do we see a dead cat bounce here for the Tennessee Titans? If you don't know what that is, it's like something happens, right? Coaching change, whatever it may be. they piece one good game together and then they go right back to the basement where they belong. I think it's possible. I'm taking the Titans +7, but here's the thing. I'm doing this for the brand, for the boys, for the fellas here who have rode with me on this. I'm not even betting this, okay? I'm not betting the Titans right now. I can't touch it. I'm not doing it. They've shown no improvement, no growth. But I'm not betting the Patriots here either because it feels like, and I think the Patriots are a really good football team. I do. But the whole coaching change, I just want nothing to do with this. But for the sake of the video, Titans +7. Panthers at the Jets. Panthers laying 2.5. I threw this one up there over on Tails as well. Again, link down there. I promise you it's the last time I'll mention it throughout the show. But I put so much up there already this week. You know, the Jets are the type of team that nobody's going to want to bet, except for me. They are 0-6. Aaron Glenn is not a good head coach. Probably the next one out the door. I don't know if this guy gets a full season at this point. And Garrett Wilson probably doesn't play. But if you think I'm laying 2.5 on the Panthers as a road favorite, you're crazy. I'm not doing it. You know what I would do? I would run Justin Fields till the wheels fall off, and I would force feed Breece Hall the football again. Because guess what did happen in London last week, despite the Jets losing 13-11? Again, many self-inflicted wounds. Their defense showed up in a big way, holding Bo Nix and a quality Denver offense to only 13 points. I know Garrett Wilson's doubtful to play with a hyperextended knee, but I'm going for the Jets to get their first win this week. Get them at +2.5. Honestly, the money line is probably the play here. Might be in the round robin. Who knows? But the Panthers are 32nd in pass rush win rate, dead last. They have 5 sacks in 6 games. They're 30th in run stop win rate. I know they shut down Devontae Williams last week, but they played better at home. I just think there are pieces here that make the Jets make a lot of sense. I think there's going to be player props that stand out a lot too. I know you guys in the comments will hit me on this one, but you guys told me last week, you're betting the Panthers, throw your money away. Yeah, we were on the Panthers last week. Absolutely. At home as a 3.5-point dog, you got to do things that don't feel good. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, folks. And this is the spot to do it. Jets +2.5. Saints at the Bears. Bears laying 5.5. All right, so look, great win for the Bears. Monday night doubleheader. Field goal as time expires to beat the Commanders in Landover, Maryland. By the way, the worst possible stadium you could ever visit. I was there for an Eagles game. Eagles sacked Carson Wentz 7 times in that game, as a matter of fact. But this is a different Carson Wentz on a different team with a better coach. I don't really want anything to do with this game. I don't trust Caleb Williams quite yet. I don't trust the Bears defense yet. And of course, Spencer Rattler and company, I don't trust them, but they're also one of those teams where it's like, they're not good, obviously, but they're not bad. They hang around in games almost every week outside of that brutal loss in Seattle, right? They hang around. They find ways to keep things competitive. And this is just the type of game that I don't want to bet. There's so many ones I like this week, more than any other week. This is not one of them. I'm not going to force it. Lean Bears -5.5, but this is essentially a no bet for me. Raiders at the Chiefs. All right, the Chiefs are 12.5-point home favorites. Brock Bowers is likely out once again, although Michael Mayer is a pretty good tight end. He could be a starting tight end on a lot of teams, for sure. But also, the big news here, Rashee Rice returns from his 6-game suspension. So you have Patrick Mahomes, who, I mean, he probably leads the team in rushing yards right now, right? Like, he's had some insane rushing games, and Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are just picking up 2 yards per attempt, and they're not using Brashard Smith. But you have a healthy Xavier Worthy. You have a healthy Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce came out of hibernation last week. I can see why they're 12.5-point favorites. Does that mean I'm betting the Chiefs as 12.5-point favorites? Absolutely not. We bet the Chiefs last week against the Lions as 2.5-point favorites, which is where I love Patrick Mahomes, or as a slight dog, I love Patrick Mahomes. I never bet Mahomes as a big favorite. And historically, that has worked well for us. Does it mean he can't cover here? Obviously not. But it means that historically, as like 6+ point favorites, the Chiefs have played down to the competition. And right now, the media and all of the attention just glowing and positive around the Chiefs. They're back, baby. Here they are. Adam Schefter tweeting it today, this and that. It's Tuesday afternoon, by the way. Nah, man, I'll lean Raiders here. Not a game I bet, but I'd lean Raiders at +12.5. And, obviously cue the chorus of how could you do that? The Chiefs are going to crush them. Yeah, but you guys say that not you guys, people in comments. A lot of you guys, you get it. A lot of people say that all the time. They can't cover. Yeah, they can. Dude, the Chiefs almost lost to the Raiders last year. Do you remember Antonio Pierce? All they had to do was run the ball one time and kick a field goal to walk it off. But instead, he lined up Aiden O'Connell, I think it was, in shotgun formation. It was a botched snap, and the Chiefs recovered the fumble. I mean, it's just the way it is. These games can get weird. I'm not betting it, but I'd lean Raiders 12.5. I'm not betting the Chiefs, I should say, at minus 12.5. I can tell you that much. Dolphins at the Browns. Browns 2.5-point favorites here. Fun game, man. This thing actually sets up well for the Browns. I did bet this one already. Got Browns minus 2.5. In this one, there's still a few 2.5s out there. A lot of these are moving to 3. Look, they have some injuries on the offensive line, which if you pointed that out, if you say Loughy in the comments, the Browns got some injuries to the O-line, I'd say it's a totally reasonable point. I would also point out, however, that the Chargers have arguably the worst offensive line in the league this year. Mekhi Becton, their prized free agent signing. They don't realize that without old Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia, this guy's going to be a shell of his old self. He's been terrible. Joe Alt has been terrible. Pipkins is out. All of those guys were either terrible or out last week. And Kimani Vidal, who they pulled off the practice squad, rushed for well over $1 against Miami. That's how bad this Miami run defense is. They're allowing almost 160 rushing yards per game, 5.6 yards per attempt. They're bad. So what do you think the Browns are going to do? Have Dylan Gabriel throw another 55 times or force feed Quinshawn Judkins? Even if the offensive line is banged up. The defense is ferocious. Myles Garrett and company are going to get to Tua. He doesn't look right. Mike McDaniels, if they lose this, probably out the door. The talent disparity on defense is so significant. And the Cleveland Browns at home are a very good, not a very good football team, very good defense. They won't need to lean on Gabriel. Maybe this is a trap. Cleveland inside of 3 as a favorite, but they're at home. Their defense is fantastic. Tyreek Hill is out, and Devon Achane probably finds a tough time getting running room in this one. I think Quinshawn Judkins is going to get 20 plus, maybe 30 total touches in this game, unless it flips on its head and gets weird early on. Give me the Browns minus 2.5. Giants at the Broncos. All right, I love my letdown spots, right? So this is going to be it. This will be the letdown spot of the week. Give me Broncos minus 7 in this one. Why? Well, the Giants are coming off a massive win. A massive win against the reigning Super Bowl champs, divisional opponent that's had their number, unless, of course, the Giants or the Eagles are sitting players at the end of the season because they've already locked up the playoff spot or a division title, whatever it may be. Huge win. Jackson Dart showed out. The crowd was insane there. I felt bad for Russell Wilson getting booed on that one pass. It's like, he's not trying to be bad, but I get it. They've had enough torment over the years. The last thing they need is a dead duck worm burner from Russell Wilson in his only snap and pass attempt with Jackson Dart in the medical attempt, which I guess it was just like a stinger on his shoulder or something. But I think the Broncos are a much stiffer task than what appears to be a broken Eagles team right now. This Broncos pass rush is insane. Their secondary is insane. Their run defense just held Breece Hall to like 53 yards on 22 attempts. You can say like Jackson Dart's way better than Justin Fields. Fine. Justin Fields threw for like negative yards in that game. So yeah, Jackson Dart coming off that big win on Thursday. Sure, they got a little additional rest. And yes, Denver's coming back from London. I understand that. I'm still not convinced in a spot like this. I think this is a comeback to earth spot. I think this Giants team has potential to be good down the road, but there's still no Malik Neighbors. I don't know about Darius Slayton. They don't have the weapons to compete in a spot like this up there in the Denver altitude against probably the best defense in all of football. Broncos minus 7. Colts at the Chargers. I went back and forth on this one. The Chargers are 1.5-point favorites, but like last week, I said fishy line of the week, this Cardinals spot, 6.5 inside of a touchdown. Man, why? Okay. All right. And then it moves to 9.5 with Brissett, but they still cover and almost win. Odd stuff happens. And I got a fishy line of the week for you coming up at the end of this one. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to say this is fishy because we liked Arizona last week and we liked the Chargers last week against Miami, but I don't think the Chargers should be favored here with this offensive line. It's a problem. If Joe Alt's not back, you can't just run Kimani Vidal like you did against Miami, against the Colts. The Colts are going to get a lot more pressure on Justin Herbert than the Miami Dolphins. The Colts have a better overall defense by light years better than the Miami Dolphins, right? So with all of that in mind, and I don't know about Quentin Johnston's status, the fact that you have, Najee Harris and Amarian Hampton on the IR, I'm not convinced that the Chargers should be favored here, even by a 1.5 at home. I got to lean Colts. They're the more complete team right now. And it's just one of those spots where I think it's going to be very difficult to keep Justin Herbert upright, even though he is a quality quarterback and can rush out of the pocket and scramble. This might be a too much to overcome, especially when you didn't have the easiest time taking out the Dolphins last week either. Commanders at the Cowboys. All right. Yes. Bet this one already on Bet365. If you're not on Bet365 yet, do yourselves a huge favor. I tell you all the time, shop books, get the best odds. At the end of the year, just making sure you're getting the best line on all of these books, on all of the bets you make, is going to be the difference between thousands of dollars. It might sound crazy to you, but it's not. If you're grabbing the 2.5 and there's a 3, or if you're grabbing the 3.5 plus 3.5 and there's a 2.5 out there, right? Or if you're grabbing the minus 3.5 and there's a minus 2.5 out there, you are burying yourself one bet by one bet. And it may not seem considerable, but it all adds up at the end of the year in a huge way, especially when you're missing out on those key numbers. So if you're not on Bet365 yet and it's in your state, use that link in the description. Get $200 in bonus bets, man. Not only like on shopping, but also the fact that you're just getting bonus bets and juicing your bankroll out of the gate. Deposit $10, bet 5 on whatever you want, whether you win or lose. You've got $200 in bonus bets coming your way. You simply can't beat it. It's the easiest, most no-brainer offer out there. And you can just look, even if you lose all of it on parlays, oh no, you're down $10 at the end of the day. And you sure had a good time with it, or you build it up even further in the 5 figures. Anyway, links in the description. 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Dak Prescott at home is not a guy I like to bet against. It's that simple. Yes, the Commanders are coming off a tough loss. Typically, I would look towards that side and say, all right, inside of 3 I don't mind them here. Dallas Cowboys defense stinks, no doubt about that. But CeeDee Lamb is expected back. George Pickens has been the guy is fantastic. I'll talk all day about how good this guy is. He's amazing. He really is. Like he never has good quarterbacking. You give him a good quarterback, and look what happens, man. He's dominant. They might have like alongside Chase and Higgins, and Brown and Devontae Smith, if the team knew how to throw the football, the best tandem, the best duo of receivers in the league. There's a handful out there. Like obviously Nakua and Adams are up there, but there's no doubt that CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are in that conversation for sure. And Javonte Williams has been good. Ferguson. This is the type of team that I just don't like to bet against at home. Bet against them last week. We took the Panthers. I don't like betting against them at home. Dak Prescott finds ways to make things work here, and this offense can go blow for blow. So, yeah, I mean, I like Jaden Daniels, but will Terry McLaurin be back? Is Deebo Samuel's heel bothering him more than we think? Because he sure didn't look himself last night. Give me the Cowboys plus 2.5 in this one at home. Packers at the Cardinals. All right, well, this is just one of these games where you have Kyler Murray questionable, Marvin Harrison questionable as well. Lean Packers minus 6.5. I want nothing to do with this, truthfully. The Packers are a better team, but they're on the road. They kind of had a gimme spot last week against the Bengals. The Cardinals come home banged up on the offense. It could be Jacoby Brissett. It could be Kyler. It might be no Marvin Harrison. It's just not a game I have any feel for whatsoever. I'd lean Packers minus 6.5 here, but not a game I'm betting. You got to tell me where you're going with this 49ers and Falcons game. I went back and forth a little bit, and I'm thinking, man, how do we not bet the 49ers here? Like, everybody just watched what the Falcons did to the Bills. Bijan Robinson, career-high scrimmage yards, right? Drake London, Michael Penix, in my opinion, played his best game of the season. And then it's San Francisco on the other side. You're like, damn, dude, Brock Purdy, is he going to play? Ricky Pearsall, they just lost Fred Warner for the season. There's no way I can bet the San Francisco 49ers. Well, that's what people said 2 Thursdays ago against the LA Rams, and they ended up winning outright in overtime. Look, I understand how the game works, and I know how something like that we saw on Monday night can shift the viewpoint for everybody. I almost bought into it, and maybe I should. You guys tell me down below where you're going in this one, because the Falcons did look good. By the way, great offense. I've been saying for a long time, if they just got a pass rush, their secondary already has good players. If they get a pass rush to pressure the quarterback, now you have a complete defense. I believe all of that. But the Niners are at home in a spot where they're 2-point favorites. But I still think I still think a lot of the public's going to come in on the Falcons here. Actually, I'm certain of it. Give me the San Francisco 49ers -2 at home. Buccaneers at the Lions. I am betting this one. Lions are -4.5 at home. Baker Mayfield's fantastic. This guy, like, can we say enough good things about him? Seriously. How much praise can you heap on this guy to where it's not true anymore? Like, he's amazing. That throw to Tez Johnson after losing Ibuka, not having Chris Godwin, not having Mike Evans, none of those guys, and still coming out with the win. Like, this team is ridiculous. Baker Mayfield now has the third shortest MVP odds behind Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. If you ask me, he's ahead of Josh Allen. He should be second, if not tied with Mahomes for first, especially considering these guys who make the votes take into account like last-minute wins and final drives, game-winning drives. Baker Mayfield's doing all of that this year. I don't think he's going to do it this week. The Lions are coming off a rough loss, 30-17 on the road at Arrowhead. Very tough game. Truly a get-right spot for the Chiefs, right? Whether you said it then or you say it in hindsight, a get-right game for the Chiefs. But at home in this spot, look, if there's anybody that can prove me wrong on this or prove the Lions' track record at home wrong, it is Baker Mayfield for sure. And he should have Mike Evans back, but it doesn't look like Ibuka is going to play. Chris Godwin is doubtful. Bucky Irving is doubtful again. On the Detroit side, Terrion Arnold is out. And then Brian Branch is just, I mean, that was a silly decision to make, hitting Juju Smith-Schuster. He is suspended from this one. I still like the Lions, just a true get-right spot, 4.5-point home favorites. These are the type of games that Dan Campbell gets you up for, especially coming off a loss. Give me the Lions -4.5. It is time for the fishy line of the week. Yes, the Texans on the road are 3.5-point dogs against the Seattle Seahawks. That smells a little fishy, doesn't it? I mean, the Seahawks are a good team right now. They came into Jacksonville. They handled business. They look good. They look good, man. I like the Seahawks team. But at the same time, I think the Texans come in here and cover this 3.5. Why? And yeah, it's a tough place to play on the road. I'll tell you why. Number one, they're coming off of a bye. I like that. They're one of only two teams coming off a bye. It's another reason we like the Vikings. They're coming off a bye as well against the Eagles. They're coming off a bye, but also the Seahawks secondary could still be banged up. The Texans defense does not get enough credit. They're healthy, and this is a damn good defense, a smothering defense, a good pass rush, an excellent secondary, a good run defense. They can give Seattle problems, and many teams haven't been able to do that yet. So while I like the Seahawks as a team, for sure, the Texans at +3.5, only +3.5, just outside of a field goal, which means if they lose by a field goal and this game stays competitive, we get the W. So give me the Texans +3.5 on the fishy line of the week. As always, appreciate you guys watching. Come hit me up over on Tails. It's all free. Link in the description. Give me a follow, turn on notifications, and check out all the other awesome guys over there in the leaderboard. Who's killing it? Who's getting the biggest following? Follow them too, because that's going to put you in a great spot. Like I use guys to tail for NHL, and I don't know a thing about it. It's a wonderful thing. Anyway, I'll see you guys back here Thursday. And all of my other picks, you know where to find them, and you can hit me up over on Twitter as well. See you back here for the next one. Bye-bye.